Hello, I'm Pastor Don. Welcome to Outback Adventures. Today I'm very privileged to have with me in the studio a famous Aboriginal artist, Leo Wright. Welcome, Leo. Great to have you with us today.
It's great to be here, Pastor Don.
I think I can really say that Leo is famous because he does have works in the Cairo Museum in Egypt, and he also has works in the Vatican in Rome. And I think that makes one quite famous. Well, Leo, where did you learn to paint?
Well, as a child growing up, I used to draw in the sand, then on the rocks, and then at school I used to do a lot of drawing and painting for the kids for their assignments.
And so I guess it just developed from there, eh?
It sure did, Pastor, yeah.
I wonder, Leo, have you got a painting with you that you could show us?
Yes, I have, Pastor Don, right here with me.
Oh, beautiful. That's really
just like
good.
That, hang on to that. And
yes, well, that's a beautiful painting, isn't it? And is this just a beautiful design, or does this have meaning?
Now, this is a story in the community, a fishing trip with all the mob. This is the river and the fish there, the local fish, the mullet in the Macleay River.
Right.
And the fishing, people sitting around fishing and walking toing from the community to the river, Pastor Don.
So that big circle there, that represents the community.
The community here, yeah, both here and there.
Right.
And this represents the river.
Yes. And these here, what are these?
Well, they're just sitting around watching the people, the mob fishing.
With their digging sticks and so on?
Yes.
Oh, lovely. That's really good. Now, have you got another one you can show us?
I sure have, Pastor Don, if we can just put that one down.
Yes, good.
Let me pick up this one. There's another one here. Right here.
Now, I wonder, Leo, how long does it take you to do a painting like this?
Well,
this is big painting.
Something like this, probably about a week, Pastor Don.
Is that right?
It depends on the size and what information going into it. This is about the community too, with the main food there, the kangaroo.
Yes.
And the old snake is protecting the eggs here. And all the kids here sitting around. It's community involvement, you know.
Yes.
And you got the sun up here and the campsite and the campfire. And the background is just the original Outback colours, you know, the earthly colours.
I really love the detail in your paintings and the clarity of the things that you paint.
Yeah, I like to tell the story of how we lived and how we interacted during the day in the community, you know, the freedom and the peace that we grew up in, you know.
Yes, oh, that's just beautiful. Well, thank you for bringing those along for us to have a look at.
Thank you.
Now, Leo Wright is today a Seventh-day Adventist minister. And there you see him in the Armadale Church with his wife and some of the family members. Now, Leo, were you brought up a Seventh-day Adventist?
A part-time, I call every time, like we went with our grandparents. My grandparents were the backbone of the Seventh-day Adventists in their family. And as we grew up, we went part-time as we visited them in the town of Bellbrook.
So you sort of had some association with the church then?
Yes, yes.
And you mentioned you brought up in Bellbrook.
Bellbrook,
Where's that near?
That's in the Macleay River, Kempsey, right up 52 k's out of Kempsey, Pastor
So
Don.
that's sort of New South Wales, sort of on the coast there.
That's right, Pastor Don. Yeah.
Well, let's go to Bellbrook. This is the type of country there where Leo was brought up. Beautiful trees, lovely green. That's the Macleay River where those fish are, is that right?
That's right, yeah, that's the one.
Yes, and that's Main Street Bellbrook,
That's Main Street Bellbrook.
Yes, and there the old Bellbrook store, you'd remember that?
I remember that, taking a bottle there for 5 cents to buy ice cream and lolly with. We used to get the bottles and take it there, and they'd give us the 5 pence or 6 pence.
Well, they were good days when you could get something for 6 pence, weren't they?
That's right, yeah.
And there, one of the bridges across the Macleay River, right near the centre of Bellbrook, isn't it? That's right. And I've seen that in flood, and I'm sure you've seen it many times in flood.
Had a lot of good fun there.
Yes, oh, well, that's good. Now, really, this Bellbrook area, that's Slim Dusty country, isn't it?
That's right, Slim Dusty country.
And Slim Dusty's one of the famous icons of country western music in Australia.
Yeah, that's right, Pastor Don.
And you said something about him coming out to the community when you were a little fellow.
Yeah, he used to come to the reserve there. One of my uncles taught him how to play the guitar. So that's where he first learned to play the guitar on that reserve. Yeah.
Well, that's quite wonderful. Now, Leo, as you grew up, did you sort of stay with the church, or did you wander away sort of thing?
No, Pastor, unfortunately I wandered away for peer pressures, and I wanted to try something, experience something different, and the bright lights, I got caught up with the bright lights, and I went my own way.
Yes.
Yep.
So the bright lights really led you off the track, away from Jesus.
It sure did.
And I guess it leads so many away, doesn't it, tragically?
It sure does. Mm.
Well, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about what led Leo back to following Jesus and making a full commitment to him. Welcome back. I have with me here Leo Wright, and we've been having an interview together. And Leo, you were telling us that as a young man you sort of didn't have much time with the Lord. You strayed away from following Him, but what led you to make a full commitment to the Lord Jesus?
Well, Pastor Don, desires of the world, it took away my family, and it took away my respect and my self-value, and I tried to build the future by myself, but it just kept crashing down around me, and I just was sick and tired of living that life, because my health, it was affecting my health as well, and so I just thought that there's something better than this, and I know there's something better out there, and like I kept looking back to that relationship that I had with the Lord when I was young. So
you remembered the earlier days.
Earlier days where I was free and peaceful and enjoying it, and I just said, well, you know, I've got to change my life and seek the Lord. So, and I was banging my head up against a brick wall and looking over my shoulder, and the desires of the world was just destroying my whole makeup.
Yes.
So to seek, I had to change and look for some way to get back to the Lord.
Yes.
And so I run into a pastor, another Aboriginal pastor, who I can go to and start building a life with the Lord.
Well, that's good. And then, Leo, once you made that commitment, you went off to Mamarofa College, the Adventist Indigenous Bible College, and perhaps we ought to show a few pictures of it. Here it is there in Carrigullen, a little town just out of Perth in Western Australia. And you see Leo here among the students. The students come from all around Australia, but it was wonderful that Leo could come and be there. And there you see him sitting up in class there at Mamaruffa College. Each day the students have a singing practice where they prepare to take services out in the churches around Perth on the weekend. And Leo stayed with it and graduated there, Pastor Stafford giving him his certificate. And Leo there with Pastor Glenn Townend, the president of the Adventist Church in Western Australia, and Pastor Eric Davey, and Leo there with some of his colleagues who were graduating from the pastoral ministry. Leo, I'd like to ask you, what did attending Mamaruffa really do for your walk with Jesus, do you think?
Well, it brought a different approach to life, and the students was there. We was all on the same level, looking for something better in life.
Yes.
And we built that life around each other and strengthened, and we shared and we helped each other, because we all was living in that world that the desire of the world was destroying our lives. So Mamaruffa gave me a different goal and a different aspect to walk with the Lord, to find the Lord for a better life.
Yes.
And it did. It gave me a better outlook on life. It gave me different value, and I liked and respected myself and the people around me, and even my family, who I dearly love today.
And you're probably spending a lot more time now reading the Bible than what you were back before you went to Mamaruffa.
I do. I read my Bible every day.
Wonderful.
Every day.
And Jesus has become a greater friend than ever he was.
He sure has. I focus on him all the time, and he's the one that gives me this new life, and he has a better life for me, and he tells me so, and he loves me and I love him.
Lovely. And you sealed that commitment to Jesus by being baptised after you'd been to Mamaruffa for a few blocks, is that right?
I sure did. I wanted to commit to this new life that the Lord has offered, because the life I previously had, I never lived. There wasn't no life.
And I think your uncle baptised you, is that right?
That's right, Pastor George Quinlan.
Yes, well, that's wonderful. And when Leo was at Mamaruffa, something else wonderful happened to you there. Can you tell us who this lady is that sort of seems a bit friendly?
Yeah, this Colleen, this is my wife today. We met at college. We had the same background. We struggled in the desire of the world, and we came there with an open book and to learn more about the Lord and to give us a better life. And to do this work, what the Lord has given me, this plan is, He gave me Colleen to support me and to be there when we need to work for Him and to go out into the community. And we both have the same background, and we have a future with the Lord that He has laid before us.
And as I've observed, you're a great help to each other. You really work as a team together.
We're a team worker. We're a team.
I should show you the pictures of the wedding. Would you like to see that? There's Leo and Colleen on their wedding day, and one of the Linelda Tippo, one of the lecturers at Mamaruffa there with Colleen. There you see a bigger group of the family and some of the students that were in for the block, and they were all greatly excited about this. Well, Leo, I've worked with you for a number of times on field schools where we've gone out and done practical training together. First way up there in the Kimberley at Mowanjum community, and there's Leo playing the guitar and some of the locals joining in with the singing there, and the audience there in that hall up in Mowanjum. That was a great experience, wasn't it, Leo?
It was a great experience, yeah.
And there on the last night, that was our mob of people there, and you can see Leo standing up there with the group. Then the next year we worked together at Bondini near Walloona, and we had some outdoor meetings, and in fact the students along with Leo took some of the presentations, and so there's Leo speaking there at Bondini. And so that was a great time, a great experience that we had there together. Now at that time, I remember you were committed to the Lord, but you weren't real sure about your future as far as whether you wanted to be a pastor or not. And that sort of, you were wrestling with that issue, whether you wanted to work as a full-time pastor or just do it on a part-time basis. But you did go to Karalundi after in your final year of Mamarafa. Karalundi is the Adventist high school up in the desert of Western Australia. What did you do there at Karalundi?
Well, I thought of just supporting work with the dorm parents and help them in the day-to-day running of the hostel.
Yes.
And done a few things around in the community. Also, I was still doing my studies at Mamarafa, so that fed it.
It was a busy time.
It was a busy time. You're trying to be a part of the community and go off and do the studies at the same time.
I remember they greatly appreciated having you there at Karalundi. You were a good influence among the students and the staff there.
And I enjoyed the time there.
Yes.
It was really eye-opening, and it just added another chapter to my life in the Lord.
Yes. And then after your final graduation, you went up to Kununurra. And Kununurra is a town right up in the very north of Western Australia. And what did you do up in Kununurra?
Well,
were you pastoring a church, or what were you doing?
No, well, we went up, my wife, Colleen, she had a dream that if we're a team together, we can go up there into the community and start spreading the Lord's message up there. So we moved up there, we got a part-time job with the local medical centre.
Yes.
And then we worked with the folks in the community.
I came to visit you when you were up there, and we went you took me out to Mirrama community, which is an Aboriginal community on the edge of Kununurra. And I was impressed to see the group of children and adults that you had there. You were teaching them songs, you were preaching to them. I remember you preached to them on the parable of the sower the night that I was there. And it was really lovely to hear you and to see what you were doing there.
And we seemed to attract the kids,
yes,
my wife and I, and to give them the message from the Lord at a young age is really...
And it's so important to give them that foundation,
exactly
isn't it?
Right.
Now, who's this fellow? What's this story here?
Well, this guy I met in the community, and I introduced myself to him and told him who I was and what I was doing and where I come from and that. And he's told me that he come from a community about 200 k's out at Kildurk. And he said, look, we have a church out there. We have all their instruments set up. And he said, you must be the man to come here to preach in our church. He said, you're welcome to come out there and be the pastor in our church, in our community. That's
a tremendous offer, isn't it?
It is.
And it shows the hunger and the interest of the people, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, yeah.
Well, we're going to take a break now, and when we come back, I'm going to talk further with this famous artist who is now a full-time pastor. Welcome back. I've been talking with Pastor Leo Wright, a famous Aboriginal artist who was working up in Kununurra as a pastor and then was called to Armidale into full-time pastoral ministry. And I'd like to take you to Armidale, and we'll just have a little look here at this town. It's up in the New England states of part of New South Wales, isn't it?
That's right.
Cold country, isn't it,
Cold,
up there?
very cold.
Different to Kununurra.
Big difference.
Yeah, so there's the Aboriginal Art and Cultural Centre there in Kununurra. And one time when I was, not in Kununurra, Armidale. And one time when I was visiting there, you had a display there in this place, didn't you?
That's right, yeah.
Well, this is the Armidale Seventh-day Adventist Church, and Leo invited me to come and run some evangelistic meetings for him while he was pastor there. And I was very happy to see that again he was working with the children. Of a Friday night he would go and gather up the children, and there they would have a singing program and share a Bible story and so on. Such an important work. But for our evangelistic programs, Leo and his wife Colleen, stepdaughter Ruth, there they played for the singing, and we had good singing times, and there we preached the wonderful messages of salvation, and people came along and listened night by night. And these are some of Leo's friends that he was studying the Bible with, and some of them came along to our meetings there. And we had a lovely time together. And there's one of his church members, Diane Roberts, and Diane actually, she's there with Pastor George Quinlan's wife, Esther, but Diane actually started a school, an Aboriginal school there, Minimbar. And Leo took me along there. They'd have worship once a week there at the school in assembly. And I was really impressed to see them there teaching, singing songs, and then they were teaching them Bible messages. When I was there, you're actually going through the Ten Commandments, teaching these kids to memorize the Ten Commandments. And I thought that was really wonderful. And then on special occasions, you'd invite the children to come along to church and to perform an item.
That's right.
And I thought that's really wonderful. It seemed like half the school was there at the Adventist church doing an item. And of course, one of the highlights of ministry is when people make a commitment to Jesus. Amen. And they're baptised. And so there, Pastor Leo assisting in this baptism with one of the ladies that he'd encouraged to take that stand. Well, Leo, coming to Armidale, that's sort of coming into your backyard where you were brought up almost, isn't it?
That's right, Pastor Don.
What was it like being a pastor there in Armidale?
Well, it was a bit scary at first because I was going back home. Like you said, that Kempsey and Armidale was just where our tribal boundary. Yes. The Dungutty tribe, and it was a bit unsure because I coming back as a different person. Yes. And all my family was here in Armidale and Kempsey along that line, and
they would see the difference.
Yeah, I was a bit worried about that in a way, but not too worried. I had the Lord with me, and He was guiding me and leading me, and I know that, and I had that solid foundation that I was coming back on, and but when I got back there and started to mingle in with my people, and it strengthened me because they seen a difference within me, and a different lifestyle, a different approach, and a bit more tidy and all that. And my wife was with me, and we supported each other, and I mentioned to her about these things, and she was right there, but we never forgot the Lord, that He was the one that leading the way. Yes. And they just congratulated me and told me that the life
I remember
that,
you did a number of funerals.
Yes.
Quite a lot of funerals.
Quite a lot of funerals.
And people were so proud to have you there conducting the funeral for their loved one.
That's right, Pastor. And they asked me would I be able to do the funeral because of the family connection. Yes. And one of their people up there, standing up there in front and giving the sermon. And
yes. So meaningful.
Well, most of them, after the funeral service was finished, they approached me and said, that was a good service, that was touched their heart, and because the Lord has given a different meaning. Yes. And it made me so proud that I know that I was on the right track to serve my people with the message from the Lord.
So from Armidale you were moved to Bourke, Bourke's Western New South Wales, And now you're at Kurrawa Adventist College. And what are you doing at Kurrawa?
Well, Kurrawa Adventist Aboriginal College is at 550 k's southeast of Bourke, and we've started there this year. This is gone into our third term. We started with 26 students.
Wonderful.
And we got 18, some fretted for home and other reasons. So, but yeah, I'm just about to move from Bourke to Kurrawa to live on the premises, to be a part, to be more hands-on with the students and the workers. Yes. But I still minister in the area of Bourke and the surrounding areas. And I do the recruiting for the students to attend the college.
And I think that's good. That's good. And they would love the fact that you're actually there when their children go there.
Exactly. So that relationship between the students and the family, the parents and the carers and the workers, and on the fair stand at it, and it gives them something that they can look to in.
So important.
So important in their eyes, you know.
Leo, I want to ask you, what has been the happiest, most fulfilling part of your life? That old life in Sydney or what you're doing now?
Well, that life before Pastor, I never lived.
Yes.
I was dead. But this life with the Lord has given me a new life, a new feeling, a new aim, a new goal, because the Lord has promised that He will have a better life for me. And this life, I'm free. You know, I got more understanding and knowledge of what life's all about. And my family, that I told you that the desire of taking my family away, I have a better relationship with them because the Lord has given me that understanding and forgiving.
Yes.
And who I dearly love my family because the Lord has brought them back to me.
Yes.
And that's this I am living now because He gave me that new life.
And the Lord is good, isn't He, Leo?
His promises are real and His word is so true.
Yes, that's right. And dear viewer, if you want to be free, if you want to really live, then make a commitment like Leo made to the Lord Jesus, because He is the one that can give us the abundant life. God bless you.